Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. Yes, I am walking today. It is Monday, June the 9th, 2025, and we almost didn't make it out of the starting gates again today because it was pouring rain all night, pouring rain about an hour before we went, even to the point where we actually got out of the door. First off, it started to rain. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go. So I've got my hands full at the moment. I've got my phone, I've got my brolly, I've got this camera, I've got Neil. So let's hope it doesn't start raining and I've got to stop this and get the umbrella out, because then I'll be in a bit of trouble. But a little bit later today, didn't get home till after 1 o'clock in the morning. Big night of boxing. I mean, I know it's a long weekend, but geez, I love what the promoters are doing. Mick, if you're watching this, mate, Mick Francis, I mean, they have the main event on at 11 o'clock, no matter what night it is. We're doing a lot with following what they do overseas. One thing they do overseas, they have the main event on by 9 o'clock, especially on a long weekend. Why can't we start the fights at 5 or 6 o'clock and have the main event on at 9? Anyway, as I say that, by the way, it's starting to come down. Anyway, we'll soldier on. We've come this far, we'll keep going. See how Neil goes anyway. Firstly, on this day, we'll talk about the fights last night anyway, but on this day in 2007, Miguel Cotto stopped Zab Judah in the 11th round to retain, was it? Defend, yes. He defended his WBA welterweight title against Zab Judah with that 11th round knockout. And in 1978, the great Larry Holmes defeated Ken Norton for the WBC heavyweight title. And what a fight that was. That 15th round, can you believe that? 15 rounds back in the day. That's when they were real fighters. So I'm just putting my phone in my pocket here as I go under the tree, because I'm going to have to navigate Neil in a second here, because he's going to want to keep going and we have to turn. But yeah, that was a lot harder fight than what a lot of people thought it would be, I think. And I suppose that's what gave a few people doubts, I suppose, on Larry Holmes's ability to take the place of Muhammad Ali, because Ken Norton was probably thought to be fading at that time. And I'm pretty sure, was this for the vacant WBC belt? I can't remember. I don't remember Ken Norton actually winning the WBC belt. I should have went to Box Week before I did that. But from memory, I thought this was for the vacant belt. But either way, it was for the WBC heavyweight title, and it was an absolute war. See Neil in the background there. What is he doing there? And especially that 15th round. And Larry Holmes, of course, did go on to be one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Just defended it against everybody. Yes, the pool of fighters probably wasn't deep, but what era is? This is the thing. I mean, even you look back to Ali, Fraser and Foreman, they had each other and that's great. But apart from that, there wasn't that many. Well, I suppose you could say the Ernie Shavers and the Nortons and these types of guys. But I think most eras are the same, don't you think? I mean, even with Tyson, he gets a lot of stick, but I don't think the pool of fighters was any less shallow than what it was when the other greats were fighting. Just my opinion anyway. And I think sometimes we just get caught up a little bit of that, how great some of those fighters were when, we talk about the era they were in and how great it was. Well, yeah, I just think they're all about the same in sort of certain ways. So anyway, let's get on to last night's fight. And as I said, the only complaint I've got so far is the fact that the fights are on so late. I'm not just having a whinge because I had to travel an hour after it was finished. I'd be probably like that if I lived 5 minutes down the road. We just don't need them that late. And there was a few people that said to me, they actually come in during the night and started watching the prelims. And they're like, no, look, I'm going home. Got to 10 o'clock, 10:30, then 11. It's just too late. I don't know why promoters think that people expect fights to be that late. I mean, a game of footy starts at 7:30. It's done by 10:30. This is the way sport is. And we're talking, I know I'm on the soapbox already here. This is not just directed at Mick Francis, by the way, but it seems to be the common thread of all the promoters here in Australia. Why do we have to have the fights on so late? It doesn't make sense. As I said, football starts at 7:30. It's done by 10:30. All good. We either go home to bed or we go for a few beers or whatever you want to do. But to get out of there at midnight, and I know it's a public holiday, but it's still a Sunday night. People do stuff, and No Limit aren't any different, and a lot of other promoters around the country aren't any different either. I remember back in the day, it was Jeff Horn and Anthony Mundine fought, and I remember talking about this to Dean Lonigan, and it was the promoter. And I don't think that fight was on till, 11:30 or something like that. And he was panicking because I think at 12 o'clock in Queensland, they shut it down. They shut the event down. The license is till midnight, and that is it. But I don't know if it's because of the noise or whatever. I don't know. But I remember him telling me that he was out in the change rooms because I think he said Anthony Mundine wanted to do a tribal dance or something to get in the ring, and a long walkout or whatever it was, and Dean's out there literally, or not literally, but pretty much getting him by the hand and dragging him out and saying to Horn, get your ass out there and let's get on with it. And luckily for everyone concerned, it lasted one round, didn't it? So it ended up being all right, but I remember him saying that was probably the most scariest moment of his promotional career. And this is the guy that promoted Horn Pacquiao, of course. And he was saying that he was totally freaked because at midnight, apparently it is over. So Jeff Horn looked after his promoter in that fight, didn't he? And got him out of there in one round. So, but yeah, look, again, I'm not on the soapbox. It's just a bit of feedback. I don't know what you guys think, but 11 o'clock for a main event to come on. Look, the good thing, again, when I go overseas for the big fights over there, they work backwards. All right, so what they do, they say the main event is on at, might even be, because of the east-west situation over there with New York and LA being the two biggest cities, they start a little bit earlier in the west so that the east is not up till 11 o'clock like we are. So they work backwards and say the main event's going to be on at 8 p.m. Yes, 8 p.m. And they work backwards to the point where the fights might start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the main prelims start at about 5, and then the main event is on at 8. Worst case, maybe 9. And that's just the way they roll. And everyone goes in there and they watch the fight and everyone has a good time. I'm not sure whether you can see the rain behind me there, guys, or it's on the screen here or not, but I'm going to soldier on anyway. But they just get on with it, and afterwards everyone goes and gambles because that's what they want. They don't want people to be out at the fights till midnight and then maybe go home to bed. They want everyone out of there in the casinos gambling. And this is the same as the Gold Coast. They want everyone, they should have got everyone out of there. Jesus, there's a massive kangaroo just hopping across the road up there. Jesus, huge. To get out of there and go and enjoy the sights of the Gold Coast. I'm sure that's what the Gold Coast people want. But anyway, the Gold Coast organising committee, that is, that's putting all the money into it. So, all right, just a quick recap of the fights as I get my phone out here and I try and juggle my umbrella. Let's see if I can find it here. And of course, I've hit something that's, no. Let me have a look at it. Sorry, guys. Box rec. It's in my pocket. Just hang on here, guys. I'll bring it up here. Box rec. Can't find it. All right, I'm not going to talk about the undercard. I think we all saw it. Disappointing. Just in my pocket there. I've lost the page. I had all the results up. Just the main ones. Look, I thought the Rocky Ogden and Tyler Blizzard was a really good fight. Congratulations to Tyler Blizzard. I thought he fought really well. Really, Rocky Ogden's no slouch. He's a tough young guy. Always comes to fight. And I thought that Tyler Blizzard fought a really good fight. I thought maybe it's a little closer than what I thought it might have been. I don't know what you guys thought. Again, I was sort of talking and buzzing around the pub and that sort of stuff. So I was sort of watching it on the go. But from what I saw, Tyler Blizzard, really, really good performance, and congratulations to him. Who was the other one? I haven't got it in there. There's a tall guy. He beat Blake Minto. Whoever it was, didn't mind the look of him. Very talented. I'm sorry. I've got my hands full, guys, so apologies about it. I can't get my phone out and see who it was or what the scores were. I had it all ready to go and I've put it in my pocket and lost it all. But yeah, no, I thought he looked very impressive. The Conor Wallace fight, I think it was just a matter of just getting through it. It wasn't a great fight. Conor Wallace, you could tell, was just in, second gear the whole fight. It was obviously just a tune-up fight for him. I'm gonna keep going, guys. I'm almost home. I'm not sure whether you can see this, but it is raining pretty heavily at the moment. You can probably tell by my jacket here. Not so you're listening to this on Spotify, but believe me, it's raining. But yeah, I think it was just one of those fights. I think, I don't know about you, I was just sort of sitting there saying, for Christ's sake, Connor, let's get it going here and get this guy out of here. I really don't want to sit here for 8 rounds of this. Could have been worse. It could have been a 10 or 12 rounder. That would have been worse. But look, it wasn't an impressive performance from Connor. I don't think he was switched on. I thought he almost looked bored in there, didn't he? You know, it's obviously just a tune-up fight to keep him busy in you know, until he gets a shot at one of the big guys in the light heavyweight division. So I get that. I got no problems with that. What they probably should have done as much as a swing bout is had it after Jai and Sequeira. That would have made the most sense to me. I would have thought that maybe at a certain time they would have went, yeah, you know what, this is going way too late. Let's just get Jai out there, get on with it, and we'll put Connor Wallace and Colin, whatever his name was, after Jai. Look, it wouldn't have been great for obviously Connor because he would have been fighting in front of 100 people, but you know, it's all about the main event, not the prelim. So that might have been a solution anyway. And then on to the main event. Well, I don't really know what else to say. What is there to say? Just a shocking mismatch, wasn't it? Not Jai's fault. I mean, he just turned up the fight like he always does. You know, and even with Mick Francis and Tasman Fighters, they would have, when the original opponent pulled out, they would have just been searching for the next available opponent, and it was this guy. I don't know what the hell he was doing ranked in the top 15 of any organisation. And the size difference, it was almost embarrassing to see him in there, the size of him, but also let's just say what he brought to the contest. It wasn't good. Looked so far out of the depth. He looked like just a club fighter. I don't know, no disrespect to club fighters, but he looked, let's just say, nowhere near a world-class opponent or a world-class fighter. And I think Jai literally just played with him for however long it took. He did take a couple, did Jai, because I think it was more just out of carelessness and not respecting Sequeira at all. But he had nothing to give. The so-called power, Jai just pretty much didn't even blink when he was hit. He had nothing to worry about whatsoever. Sequeira had zero to offer Jai Opetaia as far as an opponent goes. It was just as shocking as a mismatch as what you'll get. It really was. And I know Jai wouldn't have been happy about it. I'm sure even Mick Francis would have been a little bit unhappy about it. But again, not really blaming those guys. Not like they went out on purpose to try and get someone like him. It was because, as I said, he was probably the only available guy that was in the top 15 that was prepared to fight Jai. So I'm certainly not pointing the finger at anyone. They needed to get Jai a fight, and they took the best available. But geez, talk about best available. Geez, it was shocking. Thankfully, put him out of his misery in the 5th round. Yeah, it wasn't a great night. It wasn't. But look, it's one of those cases where they're through it now. They can just get on with it and hopefully get that Zurdo Ramirez fight, which looks like it might happen later in the year. I know Mick said that that was the aim. They're going to jump on a plane and go over to the States or Saudi Arabia. Is it? Where are they fighting? In the States. In the States on the Paul Chavez undercard. I'll just go under a tree here while I'm going here, guys. But they'll go and put the challenge out to him and do it in person, because I reckon if not, this is not going to happen. Ramirez is doing everything he possibly can to I wouldn't say he's trying to avoid Jai, but it's not front of mind for him at the moment. So let's hope that is the case. And Mick also was talking about a mega card. He'd like to work with No Limit as well to try and bring a lot of these fighters together. He said he'd love to have Tim Tszyu and George Kambosos and Jai on the same card, which is great because he's looking at funding. They want a big mega event up in Queensland. Look, it's good in theory, I would suppose. I'm not sure whether it could practically happen. I'm not sure if it would be great if they did, of course. And look, having said that, Matchroom and Queensberry worked together, didn't they? And Top Rank and Golden Boy talking about working together. So maybe it could happen with No Limit and Tasman. The big thing would be the egos involved, I suppose. Who's the main event? Is it Jai? Is it Tim? Is it George? I mean, if George wins his world title next weekend and Tim wins his world title and Jai's obviously the number one sort of pound for pound fighter, because this is the thing. Tim's probably the bigger name, the bigger draw, but Jai's number one pound for pound fighter. George also brings a lot to the table as well. He brings out a big opponent here as well. I've got my doubts it could happen. I would love it to happen, but the money involved and everything included in the whole thing, I'm not sure they could pull it off. But geez, even if it was just Jai and Tim on the same card, how good would that be? It'd be fantastic. And even if they're talking about a Gold Coast thing to have a massive event up there, how good would it be to have maybe 2 events? So they could have the Friday night, or actually it'd have to be Saturday and Sunday because of the time difference in the US. But if they did it Saturday afternoon for, say, Jai, and then Sunday afternoon for Tim, which would be nighttime over or Friday and Saturday night over in the States, and did a double header weekend, and imagine the people they would drag to the Gold Coast for that. It would be fantastic. So rather than having them on the same card, just spread the love. They can get a lot of Aussie undercard fighters on it. It would be huge. But lot to go, water to go under the bridge before that one. And Mick also not happy about Justis Huni, as he shouldn't be. There is talks of protests and all this sort of stuff going on. I'm not sure it'll probably get to that point. We saw it with the Lamont Roach and Tank Davis fight. I think they like just to sweep these things under the carpet when the referee makes an error. Or was it an error? We haven't really heard from the referee, as far as I know, to get his point of view. So I'm not sure, but it did look like a fast count. And even if it wasn't a fast count, Justis made it up before the count of 10. And it was waved off without him even saying walk to me or walk left and right or even having a look in his eyes. He got up and he immediately waved it off. It's, look, being in England with an English referee and all English officials, all that sort of stuff, I doubt anything's going to happen, but the question's got to be asked. I mean, Justis was way ahead on points. He seemed to take it pretty well, but on the other hand, it is what it is, and if it was a fast count or the referee didn't give Justis a chance to prove himself. I mean, Mick made a good point. This is a world title fight, interim world title fight, I get that, but it's a big fight on the world scene in the heavyweight division, massive stakes. You would think they would at least give Justis an opportunity. The fact that the referee would have had to have known that he was in front. He would have had to have known. So, unless he had the tunnel vision on, I don't know. But surely when you got a referee, but back in the old days, the referees actually used to judge the fight themselves. So I'm sure they know what's going on. But really disappointed for Justis. But at the end of the day, he got nailed and he got knocked out, and that's it. That's what happens. And he's going to have to wear that. And let's hope they get a rematch or something like that, or Justis gets another fight at some stage with another big opponent. Like, who knows? Maybe he might get the winner of Atoma and Dillian White, who fight in August. We'll see. There was a little bit of news on Canelo and Crawford. That's right. Dana White is back in the fold. So it looks like the UFC Noche that was going to be the big UFC main event pay-per-view on the same night, I think it was, is now being pushed. I'm not sure it's on the same weekend, but it's not going to be a pay-per-view event, so it's not going to go in competition with Canelo and Crawford. So Dana White will be back in the driver's seat as far as being the promoter. It looks like they are still going to try and push it for Allegiant Stadium, which holds about 60 or 70,000 people, which would be great. I think they're going to try and talk to the footballing union or wherever they are, association, to get the college game moved so they can use that. So it looks like we might be back on track with Canelo and Crawford, which is great. So what's that, September the 13th. So Vegas, I think it'll definitely be in Vegas, but whether it's there or the T-Mobile remains to be seen. Now, I think that was it. What else did I have here? My phone's unfrozen now, so it was all wet and I couldn't, all my fingers are sliding all over it. I haven't had a chance to see the Nakatani-Nishida fight yet either, by the way. He did, was a 6th-round stoppage or something like that. I haven't had a chance to see any of the highlights or anything yet, but I'll do that today and maybe have a bit more to say about that tomorrow. Abdullah Mason had the win yesterday on that card. Can you believe that Keyshawn Davis was fighting, or not fighting, he didn't fight on the day, but getting involved in a tussle with the opponent that beat his brother yesterday. I mean, this guy needs a reality check. I'm not sure who he thinks he is. He's a badass or whatever, but he was apparently carrying on at the back. But Abdullah Mason had the good win yesterday. Looks like he's going to fight Englishman Sam Noakes for the vacant WBO lightweight title next later in the year. So at least he gets his opportunity. He's the #1 ranked challenger, so it was going to be Davis, but now it's going to be Noakes. Did say he'd still like to fight Keyshawn Davis, but look, Keyshawn Davis will probably go to 140, could even go to 147, who knows, but that looks like it's going to be the case, maybe in England as well, so we'll keep an eye on that. But that's going to be it for today, I reckon, guys. I know I probably didn't go into the card too much with Jai Pattaya last night, but it was just, I don't know. Again, I didn't have a good chance to sit down and watch it from start to finish and give my get a real good idea what's going on over the whole card I'm talking about. I saw the whole Jai fight, but not much to say about that one, of course. But the rest of the card, again, I'll probably have a look at some of the highlights today and maybe talk a bit more about tomorrow. But from what I saw, not a lot of highlights for the card anyway. But it is what it is. They got through it. Let's hope Jai goes on to something bigger and better now. We continue those great fights on the Gold Coast. I'm definitely going to be up the next one because I was at the Nika fight earlier in the year and it was fantastic. Geez, they put on a good show up there and it's a really good place to put fights at the convention centre. So I'm not so sorry I missed this one, I will say, but I will definitely be at the next one and can't wait to cover it up there because he does roll out the red carpet to all the people, whether they're a YouTuber or a reporter or an influencer, whoever they are, I don't know. But I will be there at the next one. So guys, enjoy your Monday. Looks like it's going to be another wet and soggy one here. Don't know what it's like where you are, but I hope you have a good one and we'll catch you tomorrow.